Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Richard Nanula, CEO of Lucy Scientific, to discuss taking advantage of distressed situations in the cannabis market. Richard, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill. Glad to be here.
You got it. Let's talk about Lucy's portfolio. How has it been diversified, and how are you navigating the current market?
A good question. Well, we started out as a licensed manufacturer of controlled compounds, focused on developing and researching and supplying psychotropics medicines. But I think the FDA is going to take a little while to approve psychedelics, and it'll probably take a little while for patients to be able to access them legally. And so in the meantime, we've made a couple of acquisitions recently. The first one we made was Waysana Health, which is a clinical development company focused on developing our own drugs. And we just bought in the last week 2 other companies. One of them is the brands and trademarks of High Times, the cannabis company. And we also bought Blue Sky Wellness, which is an online retailer of all sorts of psychotropic products.
So are you venturing into the consumer space at all?
We are. And again, I think for us, we're in the business for the long haul, but I think we want to be successful and profitable in the short haul. And the places where there is business to be done is currently online, selling psychotropic drugs to people, and in the wellness category, which is probably a $7 trillion category. I'm talking about CBD, Amanita, THCV, a variety of different non-cannabis, Delta 8, Delta 9, a whole bunch of products where there's billions of dollars of market demand.
What are your predictions for the M&A market in the psychedelic space?
It would be my guess that there's quite a number of psychedelics companies, both here in the Nasdaq and in Canada, that probably could use access to capital and will need to raise more capital in a challenging market, as these clinical trials they're lengthy, they're expensive. So I'm guessing there'll be some consolidation.
Why does the FDA take longer to approve certain drugs within the psychedelic arena for commercial use?
I don't think they're going to take longer, but I think the idea was this is a brand new category and people are excited about it. So there was some hope that it would be approved earlier this year, for instance, MAPS and MDMA. And I think the FDA's recent guidance says we're going to approve these compounds like we're approving regular pharmaceutical and biotechnology drugs. I spent some years at Amgen, and that just happens to be a fairly lengthy, expensive process. And I think they've indicated that they want these types of drugs to pass generally through those safety and other tests before approving them. So not longer, but just still a lengthy process.
Do you think it has anything to do with perhaps the connotation that's out there, MDMA, LSD? You don't think of that as necessarily a healing drug. You think of it more of a recreational use type of drug. Is there pushback there just from public perception?
I don't get that sense. These are generally microdose products, and so not anything particularly heavy or dangerous. So I don't see the pushback specifically there, but I think there was some hope that because these drugs tend not to cause much harm at a small dose, that they could be pushed through quickly through the process and not have to do, for instance, a long-term safety study or follow-up studies after patients go off the drug and see how that they do, which is what's done in the pharmaceutical market. So I think they've just indicated there's not going to be any shortcuts, regardless of how exciting this new space is.
Yeah, because I've read in a number of cases, particularly with LSD, that it can be useful and effective for mental health treatment, as an example. Correct.
By the way, the other thing I'd love to talk about, if I could, is we just honestly bought the rights to really the #1 cannabis brand, High Times. Been around for 50 years. We're not going into the cannabis business, but I'd sort of say in terms of Americana, and we're going to be a licensor of that brand, I'd be thinking about that like Margaritaville. I think High Times all over the world in all sorts of categories can be a brand where we can actually be very commercially successful with it at Lucy.
All right. Appreciate the insight. It was great to meet with you, Richard. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.
Thanks so much.